Hi, Greg Andrick here. Business Freedom Conversation Post. I'm going to give you the information. This is something I do for my page, Power and Performance Coaching, and my Andrick CPA MBA page. So you business owners, there's something new out there that you probably don't know about, and it's pretty serious, and it's catching everybody by surprise. So back in 2021, when the Biden administration controlled both sides of the House, they had the House and the Senate, and of course they have the executive branch, they were able to get through the Corporate Transparency Act. And this Corporate Transparency Act houses beneficial ownership interest, or a thing called BOI. You're going to get really familiar with this. BOI kind of caught everybody surprised because it didn't start until January 1 of 2024. But if you form an entity in 2024, you must report it to FinCEN, the Financial Crimes Unit of the Treasury. You heard me right, the Financial Crimes Unit of the Treasury. I've got some slides. I'm going to go through this, and I'm making available to you the brochure from the FinCEN, the Financial Crimes Unit of the Treasury Department, so that you can look at this and figure out how you're going to comply. If your business was started before January 1, 24, you don't have to report your beneficial ownership interest until January 1, 2025. But if you started a business in 2024, you get 30 or 90 days. I believe they've lengthened it to 90 days, but still on their website it says 30 days. So let me show you my slides and you get into this. So, are you a criminal? The Act requires you to register your business. And this is very interesting. No privacy for you as a small business owner. You have to register, and you heard me right, with the Financial Crimes Unit of the Treasury Department. This is a screenshot from their enforcement network. It's financial crimes, and they're assuming that all small business people are cheaters and criminals and need to register with them. That's 32.6 million entities have to register with the Financial Crimes Unit of the Treasury Department, and they estimate that there's going to be 5 million new entities a year. So if you started an LLC or a sub S or even a C Corp that's small in 2024, you had 30 days to register it, possibly 90 days. So what does this require? It requires that every reporting company, and a reporting company is a definition, but that definition is kind of, well, that's not too vague. It's pretty tight, and pretty much it's small businesses. And let's look at the next thing. Its beneficial owner means an individual who directly, and this is the tricky one, or indirectly has substantial control or owns or controls 25% more of the ownership interest of the entity. And it doesn't include your senior employees, but it may. See, the problem with this law is it's vague enough that you can be second guessed. So the directly or indirectly means board presentation, ownership, rights associated with any financing arrangement, control over one or more intermediary entities that separately or collectively exercise substantial control over a reporting company, arrangements. See, look at this. Or this is what every single one of these segments has a really broad and vague item. Look at the last one here. Any other contract, arrangement, understanding, relationship, or how do you like this for being vague? Otherwise. We'll get into why they made it so broad. Substantial control means directly or indirectly includes over the senior officers, the authority to appoint people, the direction, determination, or substantial influence over important decisions of the reporting company. The required information of beneficial owners is they want your full legal name, your date of birth, your residential address, and then they want certain documents, and then you have to turn them over to FinCEN. They not only want of these people who have control, even though they don't own your business, they exert control over you, they want the people that they call them the applicants for whoever files with the Secretary of State in your state to create an entity. They want to know who that is. This is how broad this thing is. Now, you have to do an initial report. This is the tricky part. You have to do an updated report. So if anybody changes their address, their phone number, the amount of control, you have to report it within 30 days. And wait, you're going to love this next one. The penalties. The penalty is $500 a day, but it's only up to $10,000. Now, when has our federal government ever acted within 20 days of something? So what this literally means is, for any mistake about a person's information, you can be assessed $10,000 fine and or 2 years in federal prison, or both. So it shows you what the current administration's party thinks about small businesses. They don't like you very much. Now, there's a lot of disclosures. There's 23 exemptions. Let me tell you what it's really all about. So let me go back to the other disclosures. They can disclose this to pretty much anybody they want. They can give any other agency, including foreign people, the information about your entity. The IRS, they can give them everything for any purpose. It's so broad. Look at this, tax administration purposes. What does that mean? It could mean for anything. So herein lies the problem, people. There's 23 exemptions, but basically what the exemptions are, if you're a charity, if you're a governmental unit, or if you are a regulated entity. That means if you're a utility of some kind or you've done public stock offering. For where it fits to small business, if your revenue's over 5 million or you have more than 20 employees, you don't have to do this. But wait a minute. It's so vague and so broad that if you do business or are related to other entities that are smaller, you're going to be sucked into it. They're figuring this out as it goes along. They're establishing this about as effective as they did the withdrawal from Afghanistan. And the problem is everything is so vague that you are exposed to a person in the government second guessing you down the road and wanting $10,000 and or wanting to bring criminal charges against you. Now, one of the ways to get around how you're key people, but I don't know how well this is going to work, is I'm going to make available a brochure. It's a very, very small brochure from the FinCEN about this. And when you look at that, you'll want all of your people to register. So if your people register, when you disclose to FinCEN, all you have to do is give them their FinCEN registration number. And what that does is it gets you off the hook. But you have to be really careful with this. See your lawyer, see your accountant. I'm giving you a lot of information. If your entity is before January 1, 24, you've got 10 months to figure this out. But you have to be careful and button yourself down so that you don't have second guessing when it comes along. So anyhow, there you have it. The Corporate Transparency Act and beneficial ownership interest with all of the reporting and the penalties. Like I said, they're really just figuring all this out now. But what it does, the real purpose of this is they're trying desperately to get through that all financial processors, banks, PayPal, etc., will issue 1099s for any activity over $600. So do you see what's really going on here? They want to know who owns what, and they want to see the flow of transactions through what entities, and they're going to piece it together. The current administration thinks there's billions, if not trillions of dollars of unreported income that they can get their hands on by taxing it. And we've had this before during the Obama administration. They thought it was foreign bank accounts, and that the money, we were all squaring away money in foreign bank accounts and weren't paying our taxes. And that just isn't true. So, here 13 years later, 12 years later, they've collected hardly any money off of that, but created a lot of problems worldwide. So anyhow, there's a link. It gets you the brochure. It gets you to the FinCEN site. Take a look at it. You got to get this done because if you don't do anything, you're going to get somebody that's going to show up and it has a criminal penalty. Anyhow, Greg Andrick, Business Freedom Conversation host. I'll catch you on the next one.